Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'll be explaining why you're good in creative but not in arena and tournaments, as well as how to overcome this and play better in arena. If this tutorial helps you in any way, shape, or form, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's get on with the tips. The first tip is overcoming your nervousness. Obviously, in arena and tournaments, where there are arena points and possibly money on the line, you'll feel more pressure and as a result play worse. There are different ways to avoid this pressure. First, you can visualize yourself playing creative while you are in a game. This takes practice, so you will need to play lots of realistic 1v1s to visualize mid-game fights, box fights to visualize early and late game fights, and build fights to visualize bigger mid-game fights where you crank really high up. If you practice these in creative enough, you will begin to subconsciously recognize these situations in game, easing the pressure and nervousness of playing with someone on the line. Another way to overcome this is my personal favorite, watching pro players before a match. This helps in many ways. First, it takes my mind off my own match. Second, I can observe how calm the pro players are, whether it be a result of their confidence or experience. Now, you don't have to specifically watch pro players. You can watch other games, Netflix, anything you want to take your mind off the game for a bit. Watching pro players, though, provides other benefits than just taking your mind off the game. Utilizing these strategies to reduce the pressure and nervousness will help you play better in arena and tournament. The second tip is recognizing that creative and real games are almost completely different. I'm not just talking about infinite or maxed out materials or guaranteed purple pumps and blue ARs, which are of course a big difference, but also the increased input delay and frame drops. For example, on my computer, I get 0 ping, and if I uncap my frames, nearly 300 frames per second in creative. However, in game, I get anywhere from 10 to 20 ping and can get severe frame drops all the way down to 80 sometimes. The only way to overcome this is by playing more in game. Practicing in creative is good and all, but nothing beats actually playing the game. Use creative to warm up and practice your mechanics, but don't play it too much. Your main course while playing the game should be grinding arena or playing tournaments. The more experience you have in game, the more you can apply the mechanical practice of creative into arena and tournaments. The third tip is taking each game one at a time. In creative, there are no consequences for losing a 1v1 or messing up an edit. The worst that could happen is your friend brags about beating you or you barely miss breaking your edit course record. That's nothing compared to losing points in arena or missing out on money in a cash cup. This causes you to become more and more irritated every time you mess up in arena or a tournament, because you know the consequences are much worse than in creative. When playing arena and tournaments, if you die, realize your mistake and move on from it. Don't dwell on it, as it will affect your following games. Take each game one at a time and don't worry about losing points or doing bad in a tournament. You play your best when only focusing on the game ahead of you. The fourth and final tip is playing smart. What I mean by this is you're always on equal ground with your opponent in creative. You have the same amount of materials, same guns, even the same position sometimes. However, in arena and tournaments, this is not the case. Whoever has better weapons or more materials will almost always win the fight. Because of this, you have to play smart. Don't take unnecessary fights that will leave you shambles only to be third-partied and destroyed because you used up all your materials and heals. Don't take fights on the edge of zone only to die to zone 5 minutes later, even if you win. Also, don't land ridiculously congested spots, like the Spire, which doesn't even have that much loot in the first place. Instead, land somewhere with decent loot that gets contested by 1 or 2 players every game. That way you can all loot up and then fight. Don't be afraid to avoid fights if they're in a bad position or you don't have the loot to fight. Well, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.